Hi everybody, I'm Lauren and today I'm going to be going over my August wrap-up with you guys. So I'm just going to be talking all about the books that I read throughout the month of August. For me, August was a really weird month. For the first half, I was busy moving into a new place, so I was unpacking and organizing, and then for the second half of the month, I live in Texas, so I was pretty heavily affected by Hurricane Harvey, and between those two things, I didn't end up getting to read as much as I had hoped to, but I still ended up reading, 6 books throughout August, and I'm pretty proud of that, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about them and let you know what I think. So the first book that I read in August was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This was kind of sold to me as a suspense kind of mystery, and all I knew going into it was that it revolved around 4 friends who come back to this private island every single summer, but then one summer something happens and Cadence, our main character, doesn't really remember anything else. And she's kind of left to piece together what happened the last summer that she can't remember. So I had been really looking forward to reading this, but this book didn't end up really doing anything for me. I ended up only giving it 3 out of 5 stars because I just don't think that I really liked E. Lockhart's writing style. It was a little bit slow and disjointed feeling for me, and for most of the book I just didn't really care about the characters or what was happening, and I kind of felt like it was very, very random. The whole reason that I ended up giving it 3 stars was because I thought the twist at the end was actually pretty good, and it did make me cry and it was very emotional, so I did like that, but overall I had higher expectations for this book than what I think it delivered, and I just didn't really find myself wanting to finish it as much as I had hoped. Next, in August, I read Insanity by Cameron Jace, and I believe that Cameron Jace is a self-published author. I bought this off Amazon's print-on-demand service, and the whole reason I bought this is because it's an Alice in Wonderland retelling, and Alice in Wonderland is my favorite book of all time, so I'll pretty much read anything that has to do with that story. This one focused on a girl named Alice who was accused of killing all her classmates, and she winds up in an asylum, and while she's there she ends up working with this serial killer who thinks he's the caterpillar from the Alice in Wonderland story to stop all of these Wonderland monsters from destroying the world. And while I'm going to give it a little bit of a benefit of a doubt because it is a self-published work, I had a lot of problems with this book. I felt like it was very simplistic, not very descriptive, and there were some grammatical errors, but I think my biggest issue with this book was it was so fast-paced, it almost didn't make sense in a way. Like, so many things happened so fast that it was just confusing, and I felt like it was very, very rushed. It's already not a long book. The font in here is really large, so there wasn't a lot of room for him to work with, and I felt like for what he tried to accomplish in this book, it just was very disjointed. However, I do want to continue reading the series because I'm curious to see if the author has grown and if each installment gets better. I only gave Insanity 2 out of 5 stars, but I do hope that it gets better because I'm always interested in Alice in Wonderland retellings. The third book that I finished in August was The Magicians Nephew by C.S. Lewis, and this is the first time I've ever read the Chronicles of Narnia. I kind of missed out on that in my childhood somehow, and my roommate recently bought the whole box set of the series, so I was like, this is like the perfect opportunity for me to read this series. I ended up giving The Magicians Nephew 4 out of 5 stars because I had so much fun reading it. I thought it was such a cute little book. I loved hearing the background and how Narnia was created and everything, because I honestly didn't know much about the whole world as I went into it. And I had a ton of fun reading C.S. Lewis's writing. I thought it was super whimsical and a lot of fun, and it was just an overall really enjoyable little read. It was really short, and I liked the pictures that were in the book. So I highly recommend this one. I had a ton of fun reading it, and I can't wait to read the next one, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, very soon. The next book I read in August is probably one of the worst books that I've read yet in 2017, and it was Sublime by Christina Lauren. I don't really know what I thought this book was going to be when I picked it up, but this book I thought was terrible. I only gave it 1 out of 5 stars, and I would have given it so much lower if I could have. The premise is that there is a girl named Lucy who's a ghost, and she falls in love with this boy named Colin, who is kind of like a rebel seeker and likes to get himself in a lot of like life or death situations, and it kind of focuses on them figuring out that when he is near death, he can physically touch her. And I don't even know how to talk about this book because I had so many issues with it. It seemed to be glorifying suicide. There was a lot of just very creepy ghost sex kind of stuff in this book. I thought the writing was really, really terrible, and I could go on and on about this book, and I might make a whole review about it because I have a lot to say, but just this book was so bad. I can't believe that I actually read the whole thing. I guess I kept hoping that it would get better, and it just never did. But yeah, I gave this 1 out of 5 stars, and it was really, really terrible, and I just could not have been more disappointed in this book. The next book I read on the complete opposite side of the spectrum was probably one of the best books I read in 2017, and it is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver, and I just loved this book so much, and honestly I hadn't been expecting to because I'm not that big of a fan of contemporary, but this book just completely blew me away. I thought the writing was beautiful. It sounded so authentic and like how an actual teenager would think and feel, and I loved that aspect of it. I thought all the characters were really great and very relatable, and it reminded me of a lot of things that I felt when I was going through high school, as well as I love the message of this book. It just really, really spoke to me, and it made me cry and laugh, and I cannot say enough good things. I gave Before I Fall 5 out of 5 stars. It is definitely one of the best books that I've read this year, and probably the best one that I read this month, and I just loved it so much. The last book that I read in August is actually one that I haven't read since I was a little kid, and it is Dinosaurs Before Dark by Mary Pope Osborne, and this is the first book in the Magic Tree House series. I really credit this series with getting me into reading when I was a little girl. I read them all, and I still have all of my original books, and they just kind of stood out to me on my bookshelf this month. I was just kind of looking at all my books and thinking, hey, I haven't read those since I was a little kid. I wonder what I think of them now that I'm an adult. And I still loved it. I thought it was so much fun. I totally think this is one of the best series out there for beginner readers because there's so much adventure in it. I can't think of a little kid that wouldn't want to find a Magic Tree House with magical books in it, because I know I wanted to when I was a little kid. And I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars only because I am not that big a fan of dinosaurs. Otherwise it would have been a 5 out of 5 star read, but I love this series. I distinctly have so many fond memories of reading it as a little girl, and it is most definitely one of my favorites, and I'm actually having a lot more fun than I thought rereading them. And yeah, that is everything that I read in August. Like I said, I probably would have read a little bit more if I hadn't had such a very strange and weird month, but yes, I'm really excited. You probably have noticed this is my first booktube video, and I'm really excited to be joining this community. I love it. I love so many booktubers, and I love reading and talking about books. So I'm really excited to start making more videos. I have so many fun things planned for my channel and books that I just want to talk about so much. So I cannot wait to see all of you guys in a future video. I really hope you liked this one, and I hope to see and hear from you guys in another one soon, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye!